Yeah. Enkundleni exclusive. I don't know whether I can say hip hop is in the building.
Yes, sir.
Hip hop is in the building. Yeah, but welcome to Enkundleni exclusive. Damn from film for sure from all the four corners of planet Earth. Lamhlanje, dig. Sister. Yes, you're the first one to put an effect for me.
Njalo.
Yes. Welcome to Enkundleni exclusive, a show by Deb3 Events. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button. Deb3 Events, we do live sound engineering, PA system for hire, DJ services, recordings, lighting, and stage for hire media services, podcasting, and also artist management. In partnership with Enkundleni Photo Cinematography Services. Sound effect? Yes, Enkundleni Photo Cinematography Services. And then also the presenter. The presenter's pants. He was dressed by Urban Fusion. On Instagram, you can search for them, Urban Fusion 19. And then on Facebook, it's Musa Selemani. And then in town is shop number 6, Great North Building. First floor along Lobengula between 13th Avenue and Railway Avenue. And then his contacts, it's 0773 458 6568. And then Escaper. Yes, Luminous. Yes, what's up, King?
All right, man. How you doing?
You good?
Great.
Hey, Baba, you're doing it big.
I'm trying, man.
You're not trying. You're not trying.
I suppose it's always a war between what you have in mind for yourself and versus what is there in the moment. So that is why I think it's inevitable ukuthi umuntu always say nyazama fit.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because you know exactly what's a kanda and
what you want to get somewhere.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, not to be oblivious of everything as he told you. So it's
always grace.
Because
yes. And then Luminous, you caught my attention and when we were in Durban recently, and you with Zawe there, you on stage.
Yeah.
And you on fire.
Hey man, as always, stage is home, bro. There's that ASF Calvin song, Mama, I'm on the stage when Mama feel at home when I'm on the stage, not until Uveve. That's like the soundtrack of artists that enjoy performing, and that's me, man. Stage is imnandi. Whether kuloza stage is imnandi.
Yes, but how was the experience though?
It was crazy. And so why people don't even realize, for me, that wasn't even the highlight of my stay in SA. Because before that, I'd had 30 minutes of introducing myself as an artist to people who didn't know me.
Totally.
You know what I mean? So, because now performing Kaya Lapa, it's like you always have a couple of people in the audience, whether it will be Zio show, that know your songs already, or if you do it on show, almost everyone in the room knows your music. But you're out there, the only people that know you are my promoters, primarily the people that got you there. Right? And so when you jump on stage, it's like literally kombisuchere that you just met for the first time. Yeah, but so it's nerve-wracking, right? It's a moment you think, this is a tough crowd, but it's not really. People are still figuring you out, because I do the same things when I hear someone not dope staging and I've never heard of them. I'm like, man, who is this? And then with time, I start vibing with them, and that's exactly what happened. So for me and my DJ, shout out to Uteri, it was that. Being on stage there, introducing ourselves, telling our story and engaging, seeing these people vibe with us, that was amazing. I remember after I got off stage, there were these guys from Uganda, and then they were telling me there was a waiter from Zimbabwe who came up to them like emotional. So the guy had greeted me, right? But because everything was happening as in depth, so these guys were telling me, he had greeted them and said, he's always bullied at work because of where he's from.
Oh.
But for him to see someone from Zimbabwe on the stage and do it like that, like it gave him hope. And that damn span, he was a top shot, because people were like, oh man, you got something dope from Guinea. You know what I mean? And I met so many people, bro. Even people that were afraid to come out and openly say they're Zimbabwean. Because for obvious reasons, you know what I mean? But on that day, it didn't matter. For them, it didn't matter. It was like, man, that's from home. That is dope. And then you have all these other people from different parts, because it wasn't just South Africans in the room. There were Americans, people from Uganda, there were people from, Morocco, Mauritius, and there was people from everywhere, right? And so for Zimbabweans to see a fellow Zimbabwean being applauded by all those people, for them it felt like, damn, this is amazing. That's us right there. So that for me, that was the highlight of that show. It wasn't. There's a moment, yes, it was amazing, but you have to understand what I'm one person on Elandaba, lama accolades, bro. Like I was the kid ukuthi esicela ngawini prize esikolo ngingatshela umasala kule prize giving day ayibona nthutsha lamabhuku kuphela ukuthi kanti awufa awuye kule prize giving day. So I was never a person. Yeah, I was never a person who stresses about being awarded something or accolades. If it happens, dope, thank God, yabo. But I've always been a person othanda abantu. Yabo, yafuna ngiphuma lapha erumini uthi na umjidalwana. We connected, we spoke about something. So I've always been there. So to see that with my music, that's what changes my life. That's the highlight of my stay in SA.
That was and is the highlight of your career.
And
then at that point in time, I heard in one of your rhymes, you shouting Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
You see, so now I think that role that you played there, it meant a lot, because looking at the time, I think it was a week after the Dudula movement. Blah, blah, blah. So I really think maybe you really gave hope to some people about.
Yeah, for me, home is home. I don't always love home, but ekaya kusekhaya, you know what I mean? And I will always use the example. I want ama warriors nice AFCON. Abasibulala ngestress, bra. But for some reason you can't stop supporting them.
Yes, you just want to.
You want to see them win. And so that's home. Wherever you go, you always be where you're from.
I think that's the case with Highlanders at times.
Same here. The funeral police here support the Highlanders. Got the band disappoint that time.
They always.
Yeah, but I love them regardless.
What's the energy that goes behind Luminous preparing for a performance?
Yeah, that's interesting. I zone out. Like my managers know this. Both my managers would tell you when I get to a place, they order like 2 bottles of like room temperature amanzi, because I don't drink like ice cold water. Amanzi, and then I zone out. I always have my headphones, but on my headphones, chances I'm playing worship. If I'm listening to music, I'm not listening to hip hop, I'm not listening to anything. But and I pray, like whoever I'm with, we pray, like we go on the stage, let the people enjoy, because that's always my prayer. I want people to enjoy, and I want to be able to communicate, because I'm a communicator. So I want to be able to communicate and actually enjoy myself, right? Sometimes I might do a few push-ups, because sometimes because I always get nervous. Doesn't matter what stage I'm gonna get on, I always get nervous.
Get anxious, like.
Yeah, it's almost like a person, and I always have a terrible example. So in the duration of the interview.
Okay, I'm listening.
So it's almost like a member who's getting married.
Okay.
You've probably been dating for a while, but you're getting married. So I'm supposed to bramela. You know what I mean? But you're excited.
She might run away. She might not show up.
Yeah, you're excited. So in the same way, that's always how I feel before I go on stage. Because I love performing so much. I love we interact with abantu, engage abantu. So I've always been nervous. Sometimes you're getting 18, shy number 2. Pull me, shy push up, shy it for lami, shamtandazo, slan, hello teachers, kule. But once I get on stage, that all goes away. So that's my preparation. I don't eat before I go on stage. Maybe even an hour before I go on stage, I don't want to eat. Just zoned out the whole time. I don't even want to be busy, but sometimes you have to be busy, especially now to organize a show. But if I'm booked for a show, I don't want to be busy. I just want to be not to be a superstar, whatever. No, but I just want to go and zone in and focus and be in touch with myself, so that when I come there, I'm fully present.
Okay. And then I came across an article on Chronically, where they were saying you enjoy being alone.
Oh yeah, I'm such an introvert, bro. Like abantu bambona ngixoxa labantu, like someone said I'm an ambivert. So bambona ngixoxa labantu.
And what?
Ambivert.
Okay.
So that's like the middle ground between extrovert and introvert.
Oh.
Right. So I had to learn to be an extrovert because of, again, being an artist and interacting in our climate. Abanye abantu, they have the privilege of being introvert and still be successful as artists, right?
Okay.
Most of us artists, especially lapha esihlala khona, we don't have that privilege. So I had to learn, but also I enjoy khuluma labantu. But in most cases, I enjoy usihlalele edeni. I don't mind, even after a show, ngiyangikhaya ngiyebukela movie, ngiyi-one. I don't, like, I'm that person. Ukuthi asoze ngizothiwa I'm bored ngikhaya, bra. Like ngiyahlala ngikholise ngibukele movie, ngibanga umsindo ngiyi-itch endlini. Nxa ukuthi ngihamba ngigqoka isikhindi endlini, abe ngigqoka isikhindi. Like ngiyi-itch ngiyazikholisela. So I enjoy being alone, but also that's how I get to think. Yeah, well, it's more like you're just interacting. You don't really get time to think and process. Now you want, that's where you really get in touch with yourself and figure out. So I enjoy being alone.
And what's the name of your chick?
What name for what?
Of your chick?
Nah, I don't publicize that information. Never
Never.
You will never. Since New Boys, I've never believed in posting who you're dating. Never believed in publicizing it or whatever. Because I'm private, introvert. Again, I enjoy. I keep my things private.
Okay,
but yes, I have a girl.
Yes, and she likes that part. At some point, my guy.
Oh, yeah, you learn to communicate it. You know what I mean? You learn to communicate. Sunday, I'm offline. It doesn't matter. Sunday I'm bam before ni day I'm very casting, it day I'm low relax unless if we are busy on that day. But if you and also I always say this, like, and I think it's not even just me. I think on let's catch sakila by each one. But then you have to have and you need it. Because if you're always ulabantu, emotionally you're pouring out. And so sometimes you feel empty, you feel disoriented, in the moment. So I need that moment. And for me to be fully present as your boyfriend, I need that time alone. Even as a day, no matter I was laying up, sometimes yakwanisa ukuphuma 2 minutes, isichayile walk ihlale phandle, chaya umoya ibisingena endlini. Sinqasubuza amasala hours your day. Into enjalo siqhakathekile into leziya. Yabo. So you need it. Everyone needs it. You need to recharge emotionally and mentally. Ube process it lakho uhambe njalo.
Ungene ku balance.
Yeah. Mina vele abantu abesaba ukuba alone yabayesaba. I wouldn't even date a girl who doesn't want to be alone. Anyesaba. Because that means you're always running away from your mind. At least that's what I think.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
you can't face your own ghost.
Yeah, you always want to be occupied, and that's not healthy. So, if a person can do some alone time, then okay, cool. What do you think about when you're alone? That interests me. But maybe that's because of who I am. But I'm not
it might help Amachita lately. We're going through depression. And
I suppose. Yeah, because we all go through it. We all get to phases where we feel depressed. But it's healthy to take time out. Like, I do it daily. Like I'm a morning person and evening, my chat cut. But every Sunday, you won't find me.
I think it gives you an opportunity as a person to evaluate situations that you're going through.
Facts. Yeah, because you can't always be busy, bro. It's not healthy.
All of them, they usually take in Django to cover all that up, to be with themselves.
Yeah. But it's not even just all over, Chad. Everyone is a coping mechanism, right? For some people, they want to watch movies. For someone, you might have to stop a movie for a little bit. And
then you be with yourself.
You know what I mean? So I read somewhere, one of my favorite rappers, Enkundleni, said, sometimes you have to put on your headphones to quiet the outside world. Sometimes you have to shut down the music to hear your words. Sometimes you have to shut up to hear your thoughts. And sometimes you have to quiet your mind to hear your heart. So there's always stages. But I don't think it's just even all over. But everyone is a coping mechanism.
Driving away, they have a way of driving away their sorrows.
You know what I mean? Like everyone to escape what's there. So you just need to figure that out and shut it off sometimes and try to face ingqondo. You find out your mind is beautiful, bro. Like it's exciting.
Yeah, but Tandega, let's continue season on Luminous and getting to know him more and better. Please don't forget to subscribe. Notification button and konapana.
Click the like episode damnly.
Yes, and leave a comment. Definitely leave a comment. And then shout out to you.
Yeah.
You made it to the Signal soundtrack. When that came through, how did you feel?
It was exciting. I didn't know what to expect because I hadn't watched the movie when that happened. So what was crazy is already we were shooting our short, right? I told one of my managers, shout out to Reese, reach out, find out if they need any, when we find out they were in production, find out if they need any music, right? And then we see what we can give them. What we didn't know is already they'd picked Dunga Vusa for the movie. So I'm thinking, I know it's probably just, I'm a movie which is 2 seconds. So that's what I thought. So we get to the premiere and Daniel Leska, the director, shout out to him, and he's like, hey bro, are you ready to be blown away? So I'm like, yeah. You know what I mean? Because I'm excited for the movie. I'm a movie. And then I'm watching, this song is literally the official soundtrack for the whole thing, bro. I remember that day I got so emotional because I saw people from different walks of life. I saw Indians, whites, blacks, Asians, whatever it is, dancing and singing along to this song.
Dang.
that for me was like, and the signal did that. You know what I mean? It brought all these people together, bro. And people were singing along to that song because of what it meant to them in that moment. And that was exciting. Like, you can't take that away from me ever. No matter what happens from this moment. Now saying we need, remember.
you already are a winner.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So when that happened, that was scary, bro. I was like, sheesh, we did that? You know, so I was really grateful, and I'm forever grateful to Daniel and Tiwanda and the whole cast for using that song.
Yeah, which is huge, because that movie made history.
It has. It's still making history. They've won, best short film in New York recently. And I think they just filmed the European Film Festival, Lapa. And they've been scooping more awards, man. So that's really dope.
And Luminous is the soundtrack.
Bro. Yeah, I remember Daniel sent us a message. It's like, yo, we had some New Yorkers bumping to Vusa asking who the artist is. And when I was checking, I must get time on Spotify, I saw that a lot of Shazams on Apple as well because of that song, New York. And I knew that was the signal because Daniel had told us.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, so there's a lot of people trying to figure out who this artist is in New York. And that was dope.
And how is the collaboration vibe among Bulawayo artists?
I can't speak for everyone, but I think everyone has things that they're looking for. I mean, for me, one of the most important things is umuntu kumele abe yazi into ayenza as an artist. Like, okay, what are you doing? Because I think one of the things is especially when we're starting, you collaborate amachita angapushi you. And that hurts. Whether senza ama-shows, senza ingoma, senzani. Collaborator lo muntu ongaphushiyo kubuhlungu, bra. Because you're going to invest time, money, energy, emotions, and then umuntu lo is just seated.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, for me, it's like, that's why now I like checking out who's already doing what. And then,
so you keep in touch, you keep on the ground.
Oh yeah, you always, bro. You know, I always keep my ears to the ground. There's some kids, or whatever it is, but we listen to the music. They send us the music, we listen to them. I mean, they ask for collaboration. My collab was when they first started, and we're like, not yet. Do this, do that. When the time is right, it's a tuning go. And when the time is right, it's a tune. You know what I mean? So there's always that thing, you have to listen to it, and because you don't know everything. You have to know you are the dopest at what you do, but you're not the dopest for everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, but so there's always going to be someone, in someone's ear, there's someone better than Luminous, and that's okay, but I want to work with that person. Yeah, bro. So you always need to be cognizant of that and listen, okay, this person is dope, and be a fan of a person. I work with people I'm a fan of. I don't like just working with people, so that's another.
Not just anybody.
Yeah, no. So that's me when it comes to collaborations. It has to make sense as well. There's people I've been friends with for years, but just because we know each other doesn't mean we can collaborate in other ways. Let's do a show together. Let's do this together. You know what I mean? So there's so many ways of collaborating. It doesn't always come to doing a song together. You have to figure that out. There's some people, collaboration also comes. This is a collaboration.
Yes, in a way.
You guys bring me here. So that's another collaboration. But I know sometimes you guys have cried about certain artists from the Sitaba Diva. So,
very much.
You know what I mean? I can't speak to that, but you can. So, and I also have artists that or even institutions I've tried to collaborate with, and have given me like bad negative energy, whatever
negative
it is.
Vibe, yeah.
So it's that across the board. And I don't even think it comes down to just Bulawayo, but I've heard Bulawayo has a reputation for a diva. And I'm trying to change that. You know what I mean? I'd rather be honest and be like, hey, I ain't gonna feel, remember? Can you send me another one? Or I don't think it's time yet. Rather for me to
us to work together.
You know what I mean? Rather than mix signals, so
you have to tell me a story about Cheri Bako or Cheri Wako. What did you meet?
We met around somewhere.
Yes. And can you please tell me more about the EP, Love, Sex, and the Gospel?
I wish you had listened to it.
I will.
But yeah, so Love, Sex, and the Gospel is a conceptual EP. 8 tracks, right? 2 of which are spoken word. And then the others are songs. So each song connects to the next one, right? And then there are songs in there. Shout out to my tribal fans. They know this. There are certain even lines in there that are connected to a project I did in 2016 or something. So when they listen to it, they'll be like, oh, snap. You're talking about circles, So I like doing that because I'm a Marvel fan. So I like watching movies or my hints, my clues and whatever. So even when I create, I like doing that. So that's the project. But in essence, I wanted to explore the 3 themes, love, sex, and the gospel, as separate entities, but also as as a unit.
Okay.
To say how do these coexist? How is our distorted view of these elements?
Love, sex, and the gospel.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because some people's idea of love is really Hollywood. Some people's idea of sex is Pornhub. Some people's idea of the gospel is fake prosperity teaching. So there's all these things that I tried to tap into, but in the context of love, sex, and the gospel together, working together. So yeah. That's
Okay,
the EP.
so that's how. And how has been the response?
It's been dope. It's been dope. I mean, touching back to Lokano Uti, I'm a person or Tani Zabantu. So I remember when it came
And this
out.
is what I'm wearing now.
Yeah, that's the t-shirt. Love, sex, and the gospel. So I remember
Protect people.
protect people. That's why we put a condom there. You know, and it's supported by British Council. I'd be ashamed to not say that. British Council came into Africa, Swiss agency, Korea agency, Com Exposed. So yeah, we got the funding for that and the book as well. Confessions of a Fornicator. So that was
Confessions
dope.
of a Fornicator.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So with the EP, man, it was dope. I remember someone calling me and saying, "Wuti, there's a song called Nkelo on the EP
With Boosie on the video.
On the video, yeah.
Yes.
So Nkelo and Amalonda, and the girl was crying. She was like, "This is helping her deal with the childhood trauma." Something that happened that she had never been able to but she was able to talk about it. Someone sent me another message that was like 5 a.m. She's like, so I was smoking a blunt and I decided, let me listen to your new EP, and boom, next thing I'm crying.
For real?
You know, yeah. So I was getting a lot of those. Nah, not really, because that's the person.
To the point that they call you, it shows that it wasn't
just the weed. Yeah, it was something. And when people start connecting lines and say, when Letter to My Wife Part 2, this is what it meant
never
to me.
smoked?
I don't smoke.
Never drink booze?
No, I do occasionally, but
Okay.
I never do it or whatever. I like taste. I like things. I always tell people I don't like drinking ujalo against ubopi face, like making ugly face. Yeah.
You don't want that?
Nah, for me, if it doesn't taste nice, I don't. I like my drinks like my food. It has to taste nice.
Your girl beautiful, your food nice. And what's the name?
I'm not gonna tell you, bro. Not gonna. And that because I remember there was one time I dated this girl, Dala, bro. And imagine this is before I was even a household name, bro.
Okay, yeah.
And I remember she posted something. We had done a video call, I think, or screenshot of a poster. And then the next thing she was telling me about how she had people coming to a DM threatening her, whatever. This is a true story. I'm not making this up.
People coming to a DM and saying what?
Yeah, threatening her. I think it was girls that were interested in me or something or whatever. And then she started feeling insecure at that time, right? Because of these girls. So and she didn't even tell me this until after we broke up. Because napo I'm going to say actor fan. So and already I was a person who would. So I have a song where I say you're gonna post your girl on the Instagram, let her meet the world before she meets your fam. So
that's smart.
You know what I mean? Like that's how I am. But when she posted, it just affirmed what I already believed. You don't just publicize as music, bro. Some people do it, and power to them. I mean, I'm really private because I'm also protective of that space
of your space. Yeah.
So that's why I would never say the name. I would have things that but I would never publicize like that until senchati.
But Tandagayo, as big as it is, and we still have Luminous for quite a long time in the building.
Good luck.
Subscribe, notification button,
Like.
and please leave a comment. Please tell me more about the book.
Confessions of Fornicator. So that's what started. We had the idea for the book before the EP. I was walking, this friend of mine, it is up, right, when Shelly round, and we're talking about his scandals. I'm like, hey, but if I was God, I would have killed me. What. So I'm like, you know what? Let me get home and put these stories together, right? Get home, I started typing. I couldn't stop. So I'm sharing my ideas, the lessons I've learned, and my convictions on it. And that's how the book came about, right? And then, but I'd never put out a book before. But I'd put out music. So I knew how to roll out music. I didn't know how to roll out a book. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let me treat the book like a movie and then create a soundtrack around the book. And that's how the EP was born.
Oh,
right.
That's
so
smart.
You can listen to the EP on its own. You can read the book on its own. But together they make even more perfect sense. Right, because there's stories on the book that I expand on in the EP. There's stories on the EP that I expand on the book. So it's like that. It's like cross-pollination or whatever. But in the book,
cross-actination.
Yeah.
Cross-creativity.
Whatever it is. So in the book, what I was trying to do really is to kind of talk about things. Even emabandleni for the most part, or a taboo, khuluma lazo labadala, but these are the things that plague our society, you know what I mean? An average teenager in Zim, 1 out of every 2 kids, these are not proven stats, but I'm just throwing it out there.
In a way.
They've probably had sex before they're even 18. Right, you know what I mean? So you look at things like that, but we don't talk about it. We don't talk about what it does to your soul. We don't talk about it. And I don't mean like in necessarily always in the spiritual sense. But I remember I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. He's married, and we're talking. He's like, "My gents, I'm a body kandlawa zalibulala." Okay. In the sense of, so now your soul has all this
baggage that it has.
Yeah, right. There's Umbali, Utandi, and all these people that you've been with. And one day you get with Samantha, but Samantha is not Tandi Mbali. And comparison is the thief of all joy. So now you don't have peace in your relationship because you're fighting an internal war. Or your body, and worst case scenario, some people, get sick, or some people get whatever it is. There's all these other things that go on. But I was just talking about why I even got hooked onto sex in the first place. The effect of porn. Porn taught me what beauty is, right? You know what I mean? And that's the line I actually say on the EP, on the song called Beauty. Like, Pornhub taught me what beauty is, right? Because the EP starts off with a girl saying, "Am I beautiful to you?" And I'm like, hey, my beauty standards are Hollywood, because these are the things that have fed my worldview. They've shaped my perspective on life or on women for the most part. And so even how we objectify abafazi, you see a girl and,
you want to talk about the booty, you want to talk about the boobs.
I was literally bought at a combi and then go review lapana begubhala boobies make me smile. You know what I mean? These are things that we talk about. And it's normal in our society. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I'm not opposed to that. You know what I mean? A pretty girl makes me smile. Right? And there's that. But some of it I had to question where does it stem from? Because a lot of it is just these distorted views on beauty, love, and sex. And that's what I was trying to explore in the book, because love, sex, and the gospel is just one of the 3 elements I was touching on here. But here it was like on a broader spectrum. Like, okay, what does it really look like to be a sex addict and still love God and Jesus? What does it look like to be a porn addict, and you masturbate, but you still want to break free? And how does it affect your soul? How does it affect your prayer life?
It gets that deep.
Yeah, so I was really trying to touch on that and share my experiences. I'm not talking about anybody else, just me and what I've gone through and what I've learned in that process, in the process of healing. So that's the book in a nutshell.
Okay. Which is, I think it's very deep.
Yeah.
And in your art, it's mostly closely anchored to, all your art is anchored on religion.
Not really. Nah, I'm a faith-based person, first and foremost.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I always use the example. Tumasalu doesn't go around saying, "Good, I have a Christian son."
Yes.
You know what I mean? She says, "I have a son." But as a son, Gamasalu, my sonship, for lack of a better word, evolves around what I believe. And I believe in God, and I believe God says, do not dishonor your parents. So I'm trying to honor Masalu because of what I believe.
Okay.
Right. So in the same way, I'm a person who loves Jesus, but I love hip-hop for what it is. So when I'm creating, it's not, I don't become oblivious of the fact that I believe in certain things. I don't believe in degrading women. I don't believe in, abusing alcohol. I don't believe in all those things. So when I talk about it, even in times when you have done these things, when I've degraded a woman maybe with words or whatever it is at some point, I'll be honest about it because of what I believe. That was foul, right? And so my faith shapes me as a human.
Yes.
My art is a snapshot of me as a person. So that's the relationship that's there. But I'm so in a studio, I'm like, oh yes, I'm from Uchumaila or whatever it is. Nah, I just live life. Ngithanda ukudla, ngithanda uchero blind, ngithanda udinga
sweet booze.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Ngithanda ukuyenga lamajita, isikholise. I love music, I love creating art, I love movies, but I also love God. And that shapes how I handle those things, you know what I mean? So yeah.
And then you put it into your art, and then you reach out to people. Yes.
Yeah, because I think humans are inherently a spiritual people. Whether you believe in God or Jesus, or you believe, you're inherently a spiritual person. Some people just replace God with money. Some people replace God with themselves. You make yourself your God. But inherently, we're spiritual people. We are longing for something bigger than ourselves, right? I just happen to try and go back to the Creator and be like, yo, there's nothing
that I'm doing.
Exactly.
Yes. And then regular, I checked it on YouTube.
Yeah.
It has a lot of people internationally.
Yeah.
Like commenting even in Spanish. I don't know whether that's Spanish or that's Greek or whatever.
Spanish, Mexican, yeah. So
was
regular,
it because of the beat? Because it has that Mexican feel.
We were going for it. So I have a thing for the Latin culture. I remember there's another song that we did and we shot a video, and I remember this guy from Mexico was like, yo, did you shoot this in? I don't forget what they say, but some place in Mexico. I'm like, no, bro, this is Blawa in Zimbabwe. You know what I mean? So it's one of those. But with regular, I think what really gave it the boost. So regular, before anyone even paid attention at home, it was already on a top 5 chart in Chicago. There's a radio station in Chicago that was playing it, and they playlisted it. And then Ghana, then SA, Harare was the first place in Zimbabwe to actually playlist it, and then Thorn and Kaya in Bulawayo for Kulumani and Skies Metro were the first ones to also kind of like give it a spin, and then it just took off from there. But yeah, it's one of those songs where it has touched different demographics, and I'm really grateful for.
And that response, did you expect it?
Nah, not even, because we were starting, right, and that was March 2021, and I remember we sat down, Loris were like, okay, cool, so what do we want from this song? And we put like minimal expectations. Oh yeah, we want 50 new subscribers, we want whatever, you know, but it's surpassed that, bro. Like, because we first dropped the lyric video, and then we went on to drop the video like sometime later, like in August or whatever. And it was crazy. So when the video dropped, it became even crazier. And I remember I was in Harare performing for Shoko's Voice to Rap concert. That's last year, September. And I performed it, and the video had dropped literally the Monday before the show. And it was crazy, bro.
It was crazy.
It was crazy. I'm telling you. And the number of people that have, till this day, that tell me that's their favorite song. You can go to Shoko's page and you see a clip of me performing at this year's Shoko. How I didn't even rap on certain parts. People were rapping to that song, bro.
On your behalf, like,
yeah,
just to sing along.
Chris Brown was sitting across my lyrics in Yati mic. I felt it, bro. I felt it. You know, like when you just go there, like I believe it, because even how we started it with the hook without the beat.
Okay.
And people just went on and they were rapping along.
That was in Harare.
Yeah.
And then when you're performing this side, Bulawayo.
I do have like a core fan base here, because man, this is where we started, right? But it's also not also scattered around the world and whatever. There is, but it's smaller in comparison to the one that I've seen in Harare so far, right? If it's there in Bulawayo, then which means my secret lovers,
my secret admirers.
Exactly.
Oh,
and there's a lot of that, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of that in our city, you know, where people love you in private until something happens, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, okay, cool, Sole and Tanda for real, I didn't know, you know. But there are people definitely in Bulawayo. I'll be wrong to say there are people that definitely sing along to my songs. My status or whatever, they use my music on their Instagram or whatever it is. So that's actually fire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you said something which is very touching.
Yeah.
When people were like comparing you to replacing Calvin, to people comparing you to filling Calvin's shoes. And then you said something interesting. You can never feel.
You can't.
Yes, you can't feel his shoes. Yeah.
This is why, I mean, is it today? That marks 2 years of his passing. Was it yesterday?
Shout out to him.
Shout out to him. Rest in peace, man. And he's one of the people that I took. He's one of the reasons why I took this seriously. When I was in grade 7, I saw Calvin perform. And I stood there, bro, and I watched this man command the stage, A1. And when I got home, I told my sister I'm going to work with that guy one day. I was in grade 7.
Oh.
And years later, almost 10 years later, that's when I got to work with them. So for me...
Your dream finally came to
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it taught me a lot, man. And you can't fill those shoes. You can't. This is why even after 2 years, people still say, hey, there's a void. There was a conversation, shout out to Rayo. He was like, yo, Calvin died and blah, hip-hop died. I don't agree with it, but I get where he's coming from. You know what I mean? So you can't fill that void. And also Vin was... personality, he was loud. You know, I love being alone. I love being quiet. Vin was the opposite of that, right?
He was out there.
Yeah, so how am I going to fill those shoes if I'm the opposite in that way?
Very true.
So I have my own story to tell, and I wish people could give other artists their chance to be fully themselves in that regard and not always try to compare them. And I understand. It's almost like a person loses a person they're dating. The next few people you're going to date will compare, but you stop comparing and start enjoying. Then you will see what these people actually
like you said earlier, comparison is a thief of joy.
It is. Yes. You know what I mean? So, and I feel like it was unfair for me for people to do that, but at the same time it was unfair for them to do that, because then I'm not going to reach the height that Calvin reached in your heart, right? But if you allow me to be luminous, then I'm gonna
It's
reach
gonna
that
come
certain
out.
heights, and you're gonna
Yes.
enjoy me and my
We're
art.
gonna enjoy your experience, your
Exactly.
expression. Yeah.
But if you compare me with Calvin, then I'm doomed because I'm not Calvin. I'll never be Calvin.
Yes.
No one is gonna be Calvin. I miss him. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
And where can people link up with you?
Shout out to the team, meetluminous.com. That's the website. You find everything. MEetLuminous. Meet Luminous across all social media platforms. We have a WhatsApp group, so you DM me on any of the social media platform. I'll send you a link to the fan group that we have on WhatsApp, and you get exclusives.
Nice.
Yeah.
And definitely, I'm gonna listen to the EP. I'm gonna read
too
the
late
book.
now.
Ubekhala Luminous imphakathi no
late.
sipho awubalanga awulalelanga. So definitely, I'm gonna read and give my review on that one.
It's not a review.
Yes, when I
You missed your chance.
Yes, but I'll definitely get to be part of the experience. Thank you.
I feel you, man.
Thank you, Siyabonga. Deb3 Events, lingakhohlwa to subscribe, lingakhohlwa to press the notification button and like njengoba ecelile.
Yebo.
Like, please make sure that you like and leave a comment. And then just go to Luminous, Meet Luminous on YouTube. Apparently, wagula kids.
Oh yeah, I used to
no, don't say anything. Don't say
I'm
anything.
not gonna say anything.
Yes, don't say anything. Just go there, you would see him. Just go to his YouTube, Meet Luminous, subscribe, and I want to see my views.
Yeah, just go to those videos and comment.
Yes.
Deb3 brought me here.
Exactly, please.
Yeah.
Go there and comment. And bagit batandega. Thank you, Siyabonga. Meet Luminous, the prophet. Because he said, what was that? Calvin?
Yeah. It was a dream, man. It was a dream.
Yes. And then it apparently came true. Thank you, Nyabonga. Katafun chage freestyle like we rap nyana.
I can't believe people.
Yeah.